Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live about hybrid project management. Thank you very much for everybody that are watching us. My name is Rogério Manso, and I'm here every week to talk with some friends, some professionals in project management, especially to discuss some subjects about hybrid project management. And today I have really a very special guest. Um, this person is a very good friend of mine. Actually, we met. I think, if I'm not wrong, I'm gonna confirm with him. I think we met about 5 or 6 years ago in a certification course about PMO, and since then we become very good friends. And he is someone that really help people in project management, especially here in Montreal. And when I invited him to participate in this live, uh, I was not expecting he accept, but he's very generous, and he said, "No, it will be my pleasure to talk to you." And I'm very glad to have with me my dear friend Joey Perugino. Hey, Joey, how are you?
Hello, Rogerio. How are you? Very,
I'm
very
good.
happy to be with you, Rogerio, today. Thank you very much
Thank you
for the
very
invitation.
much. Thank you very much, Joey. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Um, I was saying that we met about the 5 or 6 years, right? When we did
I
the
think
first PMO course, Valerie.
maybe a little bit longer than that. I think it was maybe, 6, 7 years.
Seven
When
years.
Americo came down to give the class himself
Yeah,
with you at for the PMOCP.
yeah, exactly. And since then, we become a friends. And Joe, it's someone that also have this bad habit to share knowledge. So he also have I think it's a monthly meeting or bi-monthly meeting that you invite people to talk about project management, right, Joy?
Yeah, I have a meetup that I started before COVID around 2019. That's called Let's Start Project Management. Sometimes I do it in English, sometimes I do it in French.
Mhm.
And I guess I invite people that are interested in having a conversation, a little bit like you're doing today, Rogerio, on,
That's
uh,
it.
on project management. A lot of people, I guess, are new to the field or are interested in becoming project managers. What does it take to get there? How do you become a project manager? The path is not always very obvious. And it's something that I enjoy very much. I always feel that every time I do it, I learn more.
Yeah.
I meet new people, and the fact that because of COVID, we've had to go online a little bit like we're doing today, means that you have access maybe to an audience that's a little bit bigger than if you were just doing it locally.
Yeah.
So it's a community that's grown. I'm not as assiduous about it as I should be. I should be holding them regularly every month or every 2 weeks. I'm trying to do that a little bit better, but it's always a pleasure when I do get the chance to talk with people.
Amazing, amazing. Joy, I usually to ask for all my guests one first question is, how did you become a project manager? And it's interesting to learn different ways or different paths that people start working in project management. Some was not have no idea what project management is, and they started managing projects. Other have more professional, path. They started doing some trainings. And so, how did you become a project manager?
That's a very interesting question, Rogerio. And I think the path to becoming a project manager is really different for everyone.
Mhm.
It's not a straightforward. You get out of university, you become a project manager. Usually, it doesn't happen like that. So in my case, when I first started my career, when I graduated from university, actually I was working in banking, and I worked in banks for about 10 years, and I was very interested every time they were doing implementations of new software and stuff like that. I was always one of the persons that volunteered to take part in the projects and things like that. So the topic is something that always interested in me. And I had a good friend, which you know also, Hadi Zaki, who had started off
Mhm.
in banking like me, and he had done is, I guess, reinvented himself as a project manager. And when I was,
Joey, let me interrupt you just a second because you talked about the Hadiz Aziz, and I did an interview, I did a live with him. And for those that are listening this live now, go to my YouTube channel and look for the live I did with him that we talked about safe. So he's a safe trainer, and we talk a lot about our safe. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So Hadi and I started pretty much at the same time, both at the Bank of Montreal, and my career evolved within banking for about 10 years. He was in banking for about five. And Hattie was really unfortunate because every time he went to a department, they closed it shortly after. And after about 3, 4 years, he got married and he needed something more stable. And he kind of landed in project management. And, everything's been going very well. He hasn't looked back. And after he came back from working, I think in Bahrain or Dubai or something like that, somewhere in the Emirates, we met again, and he was telling me, Joey, you should go. And I was kind of at a crossroad where I was thinking I should. I wasn't really passionate about what I was doing anymore. So I did a master's in science of project management, and I started as a project coordinator because I already knew all the financial controls and all the budgeting side was very easy for me. Managing people is something that I'd already done, but I just hadn't done it in a project context. But that was that was pretty much my start. So I did that, and when I was in university, I specialized in my thesis, I guess, was on PMOs, the challenges to implementing a PMO and making them survive the first few years. Because usually, many PMOs, I guess, have a hard time staying relevant and things of the sort. That's probably one of the reasons why when the training that you were providing for the methodology for by the PMO Global Alliance, the PMOCP certification was something that was of interest to me, and so I've gone on to have more senior roles, more in a maybe a lot of things that have to do with governance and things like that because it's something that interests me. But like you, I also I do a lot of agile projects. I do waterfall projects. I've been a scrum master within safe. I've did an RTE before, so
If I'm
I've
not
played a lot
wrong,
of roles.
and if I'm not wrong, I think you are even judge for
With the
the
PMO
PMO
Global
Global
Alliance
Alliance
and the
to
Global
find
Awards.
the PMO of the year, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh boy,
yes. I
it's
was
not for
for
everybody.
many
It's
years.
just for some.
Yes. Well, it's always good. It's a good way to learn. Have you ever been a judge with the PMO Global Awards? Maybe at the
No,
beginning?
no. Actually, when America started pushing the PMO Global Awards, I was really busy with my job and my training, so I had no time to work on this. And then he really tried to get more or less the same judges every year to keep a standard in this contest.
Community, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's amazing to when you are judging PMOs or projects or anything like this. I think that the best thing is that you can have different examples of succeeded things, PMOs, projects, and I think we learn a lot when we judge it like this, because
Absolutely.
you have
You get a lot of ideas of what worked, what didn't work, different types of
exactly.
models, the importance of having a strategic link, like like you taught us, between the PMO and what they do and the strategic orientation of the organization. And that's really key, and it's probably one of the reasons why a lot of PMOs fail, because they don't have that link, Rogerio.
And now the PMO Global Alliance is part of the PMI. So I think that
Absolutely, that was a big announcement.
It's a great, it's an amazing news, and I think that this will, push more this context, this
The visibility of PMOs.
visibility, exactly. This will help a lot of companies and organizations to participate in this prize. Great. Listen, my friend, I know that today you are managing programs, and I'm sure that this is not an easy job. Okay, and as you know, this live, my channel, YouTube channel, we try to talk about hybrid project management. I know that we discussed it before about some experience managing projects and programs, and I know that you have a lot of experience and curiosities about your projects. But let me ask you something. What do you think about hybrid project management? Do you think that this is something that is just for a temporary moment, or something that we need to pay more attention and get more responsibility on this?
First of all, I live in the world of hybrid project management. Okay, because to me, you have to take from waterfall, you take from agility, you take from safe, from Scrum, from all the different methodologies or frameworks that are out there, and you use the tools that work for you in order for you to deliver your project. If you look at the evolution of PMI, like when you and I did our exams for the PMP many years ago, Rogerio, agility was nowhere it wasn't part of the course curriculum. It was just an afterthought. You were a project manager, you did waterfall, and if you were a Scrum master, you did these other things. Actually, within Scrum, and I never agreed with that, but within Scrum, people say the project manager has no role, which I don't think is.
I also heard about this.
So now, when you have, if you look at the evolution of PMI, agility used to be just a book, an addendum that they had done, but now it's completely integrated in the course outline. And that's the way it should be, because you cannot be a project manager today without understanding the basic concepts of agility, because you might not need all the ceremonies, you might not need all the things, but you will use some of the artifacts that are there.
Let me give you an information that someone told me this week, and this is true. Okay, this is reality. Okay, there's a bank here in Canada. I will not disclose the name. Okay, but there's a bank that said that from now on, there's no project manager role. Everyone that before was project manager, from now It's called Scrum Master.
Wow.
Everybody, every project managers now they call them Scrum Masters. And they said, okay, good. So this means that all projects that you are managing, you follow Scrum. Even big programs, even infrastructure, even I don't know, all kind of
Yeah,
projects. I worked for this bank, and I know they have hundreds of different types of projects that have no possibility to adopt agile or scrum. They must be traditional, okay, managed by traditional way. And I was thinking, how can these new heroes in this bank, now scrum masters, manage like an infrastructure project that will deploy a lot of uh, uh, no equipments or infrastructure, IT infrastructure in Scrum. And this is just to illustrate that we still have a long way to go. We still in the beginning of trying to to understand agility. Most of the big organizations doesn't know what is
mhm.
agility.
I think
And what do
agility
you
is
think
part.
about this?
Agility is part of the answer. Okay, the organizations need to understand agility, but they can't do the deep dive like that. I'm sure if we have another conversation in a few years, this bank will have completely gone in the other direction. Uh, I have no doubt. I'll put my hand on fire, Rogelio. There's no way.
Oh my God!
But anyways, all of that to say, delivering projects is difficult, Rogelio. If it wouldn't be difficult, they wouldn't need you. They wouldn't need me. Um, you many people try to find the quick recipe that's going to solve all of the problems in the world.
That's it.
Unfortunately, there isn't. That's the reality. There isn't. I told you, that I did my master's degree. When I did, one of the things that really fascinated me was, and you probably heard about this, it's called the chaos report. They don't really do it anymore, but before they used to do it every year and kind of showcase how badly large organizations did at delivering complex projects.
Mhm.
Like they had criterias within scope, within budget, and on time. And I think if you did 2 out of 3, we're kind of okay. If you did 0, well, the project had failed. So either the project was challenged 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 3 in very extreme circumstances, maybe 25-30% of the time, a project was delivered as per the triangle. So that was the truth before. It's just still the truth today. And we can go about it in many ways, but it's not an easy task. And I understand that there's a lot of pain in the delivery of projects, and that's probably one of the reasons why they want to try. Okay, let's try to do it differently.
Yeah, and
um,
let me ask you something. I don't want to put your in spotlight, but what do you think about the role of the PMOs on this thing? Because I always learned that the PMO it's someone that could help you on managing your project or in delivering your project. They are there to support you on frameworks, on tools, on trainings, on communication and lessons learned and everything. But today, what I see in many organizations is that the PMO are so lost as the professionals. They don't know what to do.
the
How do
PMO
you
gets
see
in the
this?
way. Instead of helping, they get in the way. And that's an unfortunate thing, because I believe in PMO. I think they should be the champions, the best friends of project managers or scrum
Yep.
masters. They should be there to remove barriers, to help us be sharp on scope and things like that. But sometimes I think there's too much, there's probably too much pressure on them to just deliver on scope, within budget, on time, that they lose track of everything else. And,
They
it's
still
just,
have this mentality, traditional mentality, right?
yeah. I know. I mean, with the whole concept of agility, I know some people are talking about the fact that there should be an agile PMO. This is a topic that's of great interest to me because I'd like to see how we can make that happen. Under which formula would we be able to have a governance that would make sense in even in a hybrid environment? It's probably
In,
not
in,
that
in
obvious
your
because
experience, judging PMOs around the world, what is your lessons learned with this best PMO that you have experience to know?
well, we talked about before being linked to the strategic orientations of the organization. So that's one key element. If there's no link, there's
Mhm.
very little chance of success. The other thing is to have a lot of oversight. I think a lot of support from top management in trying to put through the things that they're supposed to put through, the methodology, the tools that they put forward, the reporting, the KPIs that you measure, all of those things. Um, for it to be successful, you need sufficient time in order to be able to implement it properly. You need to have the support of senior management, and after that, you need to be able to measure the right elements, the right KPIs, in order to be able to demonstrate, that you are making a difference, that you're helping deliver projects more efficiently, that you're not just another cost center. There's a before and after, and you can measure the improvement. That's sometimes one of the challenges, I think, of PMOs. They remain relevant when they can prevent, when they can show those things.
We I don't know you, but I heard a lot of people talking about agile PMO, traditional PMO. Do you believe in this type of classification? Can we have a hybrid PMO, for example?
I think you can, because the PMO in itself, is supposed to evolve, mature as it goes along. It goes through a cycle. There's 5 levels of maturity and things of the sort that a PMO goes through. If there's a lot of projects that are delivered in with the agile framework, because they're development projects or things of the sort, it would make sense that the PMO would be there to provide them with the tools, the reporting, help them with the governance and things of the sort. Because even though you're in agility, you still have a budget, you still have constraints with variables, resources, things like that you need to have assigned. There's a lot of challenges, and the PMO can help. Like making sure that your project is prioritized, that the resources are assigned, and things of the sort. There's a role that it can play.
Mhm. You
Uh,
said that you are now working in a hybrid project, a hybrid program,
yeah,
actually. uh, for for people that are watching us now that have no idea what means managing a hybrid program, what you can tell them, what how do you start a program that that you need uh, to adopt traditional and agile in the same program? How do you think the strategy about this?
yeah. Well, usually in a program, you could have different projects or different streams of deliverables. Some of them are more classical, like you mentioned before, infrastructure or buying equipment and things of the sort. And others have more with migration of data, doing some development, tweaking applications and things of the sort. So those elements where you have to do a development, where you have front end, back end analysts, and all kinds of things like that, these lend themselves a little bit more to agility. Okay, but other elements where you have to deploy new servers and put in new things like that, that's more traditional waterfall. So you need to be able to develop a system that will permit you to be able to follow all those different things. And the development that's done needs to follow a certain types of milestones or key dates that you put forward. And that's usually in a more traditional waterfall way that you would follow those things. So with regards to reporting, governance, and many of the things like that, you need to have a little bit of both. You have the agility with the sprints and the resources and stories and managing a backlog and things like that. But you have key periods where you have milestones that need to be met and things like that. And that would be more of a traditional waterfall type of governance. So mixing the two together is kind of where I say that you always live in a hybrid world. Sometimes it makes sense to use a type of methodology versus using another.
Do you used to to have different? I'll call project managers. I'm sorry because I'm still the old school. I'm still believe that even in agile, you can have project managers to help.
Yeah.
But do you think that you need different professionals? Okay, let's put the project management aside. Do you need to have different professionals to manage traditional components of your program, agile components of your program? Do you need to have different profiles, or maybe you can have someone expert in hybrid or something that could take responsibilities over the traditional component and the agile component of your program? What's the
I think
strategy
someone that has a lot of
assigning
the
people?
concept, someone that has a lot of the that has within his toolkit, having led some agility, knowing the notions and everything, the ceremonies that goes around agility, and also has played the role of project manager, will be able to kind of play that hybrid role of a agile project manager, which I've led before, which is, you have the team, you do your sprints, you do your stories, you do your things, but at the same time, you still have those milestones and things like that that you have to follow, and you have to do the steering committees and all kinds of things of the sort that the Scrum Master usually doesn't go to. Scrum Masters don't traditionally go to steering committees and things of the sort. They have velocity burn downs and things like that they give the reporting on the sprints that they just finished, but they're not involved at that level, at that more strategic level. I think a project manager would probably be able to play that role a little bit better than just the Scrum Master. But maybe I'm saying more from my personal perspective, Rogerio. Have you ever played the role you yourself of being just a Scrum Master, or you've always played a little bit more like me, the Agile project manager that kind of leads an Agile project, but is still a project manager and things like that?
My experience with agile, it's I don't know. It from my perspective, from my point of view, my experience was always like some hybrid position. Even
Yeah.
when I worked, I worked for a company where we have only agile frameworks. Okay, there's no traditional approach. We use FTP. I don't remember a tool from Microsoft to create the backlogs, to create the sprint backlogs, and everything was monitored on this tool. But my role was like a scrum master / project manager. Why?
Exactly.
Because even in a 100% agile project, my steering committee still wants that I have a big vision about the project in terms of the cost, resources allocation, and timelines. So
Exactly.
even if I don't have the full knowledge about, for example, how many sprints I need to finish this delivery, my steering committee asked me to forecast all sprints that I need and allocate resources and put the timelines and put the milestones. So my challenge when I worked in a agile environment is that it's not the team, it's not to work with the team of the customer or the users, is to work with the steering committee. Normally, the steering committee don't see agile as we see.
Of course not.
They always see any project in the same way. You need to deliver something in this timeline with this cost, with these resources. They don't care about your capacity to change, capacity to adapt. They don't care about this.
Yeah.
And so this was my first experience working in agile. After this contract, I started working for a bank, where was my first real experience working in a hybrid environment. I worked in a project where we had one work stream to develop a new software, and in parallel, we have another work stream for the infrastructure of this software. So we had a traditional approach to adopt, to create this infrastructure, servers, network, security, everything. And in parallel, we have another work stream working on developing the software. And this was what triggered my interest to do a master's degree in project management, and in my specialty in hybrid project management.
That's very interesting.
For me, the biggest challenge managing projects today, because I always say, I used to say that we don't have a project that it's 100% agile or 100% traditional. We always can make or can find some components in your project that we can use an adaptive approach or a predictive approach to deliver this project. And the challenge is not to do this, is not to manage a project in a hybrid way. For me, the challenge is the scenario, the context where the project is placed. Because sometimes the steering committee is not prepared to work in a hybrid environment, in a hybrid project. Sometimes your vendors or third parties or consultants or users or customers are not all ready to work in a project like this. So it's a culture question here.
Yeah,
For me, the
culture.
hybrid project management is something that we are now, especially post-pandemic, we are now realizing that we need to more and more adapt our context of project context to the scenario, the cultural scenario that we are working on. We need to analyze the PMO, the company, the organization, the laws, the compliances, everything to make sure that we can adopt this approach. And we also have problems in terms of the tools and the reports. And I was trying to ask you, how do you report a hybrid project where you have to provide information from traditional work stream and agile work stream. I have this challenge always in my projects, because I always need to explain that some part of the project it's managed in a traditional way, and some part of the projects are managed in an agile way. So the information that I'm providing are different. They are different. In a
Yeah.
traditional way, I can provide the timelines, costs, budget, and everything, but in agile, it's more difficult. So this is my challenge. So how about you? What do you think?
But I think when you have to do certain elements that are more traditional waterfall, like putting forward some and installing some servers, doing infrastructure and things of the sort, and you have other elements that are more in line with just do development of code and things of the sort, you know, having first of all having both of them to be working simultaneously and well synchronized, that the infra is there by the time you need it, and things of the sort can be very challenging. I know in some of the environments of my past mandates that I've had, where I was kind of playing the role of agile project manager, they had sort of PMO type of process where you needed to have something, you need to open a ticket and make a request, and it would take you 20 steps by the time, like a month before you have what you need. And during that time, your resources that were doing development, they're doing something else because they can't be on your just standing idle. So by the time the systems are up or the environment for which they were going to be developed is there, then you can say, okay, now I'm ready. Can you give me back the resources? They're not there anymore. They're doing something else. You have to fight to get them back. It's always a constant chain. And I think, that at a governance level, explaining those different pieces and why the pieces don't always fit well together is part of the challenge that we have in today's context. I think probably it's one of the key elements. What were you going to say, Rogerio? Sorry.
When we start a project, I'm not so lucky. Normally, when I start a new job, the project it's already started. It's ongoing. It's very difficult that I get the project from the beginning. As I'm a consultant, like you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
normally when I start a new contract, the project it's already approved, the budget it's approved, the resources are assigned. So I go inside the project, that it have already started, and I need to adapt myself to the context that I'm living in. The people. Sometimes the resources that are working the project are not exactly the best resources for this project. Sometimes the scope is not totally clear. Sometimes the budget is not enough. I have a lot of histories about this, but
I've seen it all too.
yeah, but we need to adapt. We need to work with the tools that we have, and I'm trying to be always very transparent. If I see that there's something at risk, could be the scope, the budget timeline, I always report to my steering committee. But today, adopting a hybrid approach, I feel that it's more easier to explain a project than when I was working, for example, only in traditional or only in agile, because I can use the right information or the right report information to my steering committee or to my team or to my stakeholders based on each component in my project that I have, based on the approach that I'm using. So how do you do this? What is your strategy when you start a project? When
When you're
you're
parachuted in
normally
a
pilot.
project, like we are often, yeah, you're right. First of all, you need to be able to make a quick assessment of, is it viable for you to be able to deliver something real the with with what they gave you? Do you have the right resources? Is the scope okay? Is the timeline good? Do you have enough money?
Mhm.
Usually, at least one of those is going to be off.
Yeah.
You know, so you have. I think when you start, you have to be transparent, like you said, and this is key for anyone that's a consultant or even a new employee starting a new project that he's taking over from someone. That you kind of have a period where you need to analyze, quickly make an idea of what are the things that are in control and which ones you think are not going to be control. You raise your hand and you tell them right away, because if you try to wishful thinking that it's going to work out, usually it doesn't. It's only going to become even more evident as you go along. So it's not hard. It's not easy, when you're given a mandate, to be able to say, with what you gave me, I think this element here doesn't work, and maybe, because usually you're there to fix and say, okay, this project was having problems. You're there, you make it move forward. But you can only do that if you have enough confidence to be able to move forward and tell them, okay, I have an issue with this one. I need your help for this. For the rest, I think the elements are in control and stuff like that. Just give me an extra 2 weeks, or I need an extra resource, or this was not in scope. However, we discovered, when we were doing our conversations, that we absolutely need this server to be there. If it's not, the solution won't be complete. This new server adds time and it adds cost. It has a cost to put it forward. But I mean, these are things that you need to say.
I know that you are a very senior professional. You have managed many projects, but I'm I'm pretty sure that sometimes you don't know what to do. You are in
Absolutely.
front of something that is totally new for you, especially when we are starting a new job, a
Absolutely.
new project. How do you deal with this when you are thinking that, okay, I feel a little bit lost, or I feel a little bit insecure? What is your strategy?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think in our role, Rosario, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, that's a
Good
reality.
point. I love it, this
Uh,
phrase.
and you have to accept that that's how it is. Now, that being said, it's very important for you. And when we learn about project management, you do all these things about the stakeholder analysis, who has the power, who can help you, who's not going to help you. You need to be able to identify those things quickly. And so when you start and you're unsure about certain things, this is where you need to absolutely raise your hand and go say, I need some help with this. Can you explain this to me? What is it that you're trying to do? Perhaps I'm not seeing it. I don't understand this part, this component. It takes a lot of admitting that you don't know it all. So sometimes I say, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know anything. Okay,
Yeah.
but I mean, you are given a mandate to lead a project. You're given a mandate to help. Okay, but you don't have a magic wand. All you have is your willingness to be able to listen, to observe, and to try to have conversations that are going to bring your project back on track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I always say to some my project team that they should not never uh, be afraid to say that they don't know something or they are not comfortable with something. You said something very interesting: be comfortable to being uncomfortable. I think this is the main learning that we have in project management, because we always will be uncomfortable because changes are happening all the
All the
time.
time.
People are changing all the time, the contexts are changing all the time, so you never have this traditional, this flat situation where everything goes smoothly. No, everything, things are changing. So I think that the best skill that a project manager should have or should develop is this capacity to manage this uncomfortable feeling they have during the job, because this will happen all the time. And we should not be ashamed to ask help for someone, or to say, listen, this is something that I don't know, but I like to learn. I like to know someone that could help me on this. I think this will demonstrate your interest and open mind to learn and to solve problems. Uh, and I know, especially when you talk about the hybrid project management, because a lot of people try to take some position. Okay, I will be agile, I will be traditional. We don't need to have this rigid position in any situation in a project. From my point of view, we need to have always the flexibility to adapt, and this
I
is
think
the
that's
key
very
for me.
important.
Yeah.
That's it. And one of the things that you said, Rogerio, to me resonates a lot with me. The fact that you have to inspire confidence in your team, that they are not afraid to
Mhm.
come to you and say, Rogerio, I think we have a problem here.
Mhm.
We're this is not exactly as we had determined. They shouldn't be afraid to bring those things to you, because you need to have an environment where everything is open, and people, the more you know, the better. You don't want people to hide those things, that they're going to have a hard time delivering, that they're going to be late, they have a problem with one thing, try to sweep it under the carpet, things of the sort. So that a little bit is something that we as the project manager need to install in the culture of our team, that they feel comfortable with us. They trust that they will be able to give us that. We're not going to bite their head off or kill them because they tell us that they're going to be late. We're going to ask maybe uh, why. What does it take in order to be able to fix it? Do you need help? Things like that, But it's very important for them to feel that it's an open. One of the
This-
principles from agility that I like a lot is servant leadership. And I think as project managers, we play that role a little bit. That we kind of are there. We don't really do anything ourselves apart from play cheerleader and report on how we're progressing and help them, move along. They're the ones that do the work, but our job is to help remove the obstacles, help keep things flowing, help bring the resources where there's needed, go negotiate for more time, go negotiate for resources, present change requests when there's elements, that change in scope for a reason or another. These are the roles. That's the role that we play.
You're absolutely right, and you said something very important. This is a leadership process. When we put in a situation or in a position to help the other people, we are practicing our leadership. We're exercising our leadership. When I love when someone come to me and say, Rogério, I'm having some problems with this activity. I don't know what to do. I need your help. Because this is the moment where I can exercise my leadership. And I see that I see many professionals that feel uncomfortable, again, using your phrase, to ask help and to say that they need help. And I'm pushing on this question because I think that especially for those professionals that are not so comfortable with hybrid project management, this is the moment where they need to ask help. Because if you keep pushing to work with your view to try to keep working in a traditional or an agile, we know that in a moment this will not be successful. So when I started a new contract recently, and I saw some new junior project managers, and I tried to explain them that my project, it's hybrid. Okay, I'm working in a hybrid project today. It's a software deployment, but there's also some infrastructure strategies inside. When I talked about the hybrid, they become a little bit, surprised about this. And I said, "Why are you surprised?" Because they never thought that they are in the hybrid environment. And they say, "Okay, let me explain you why I think that we are in the hybrid environment." And then I show them the context of the project. And then it says, "Oh, it's true. It's really, this is how we're gonna work in this project." You see, this is a hybrid situation. We have here a traditional component that we can define the timeline, the cost, and the resources. But we have another component that they can't. It's adaptive, it's iterative. So we need to work this in an agile way. And it's interesting to see how people still don't know they are in a hybrid environment, but they think that they are in traditional or agile, but they are in the hybrid environment. And this is something that I like to ask you. How do you try to teach or coach, or I don't know, help people to understand that they are in a hybrid environment?
It's a very good question. And I think most of the time I do it by challenging a little bit the way that things are done. Like, it's going to be why, like, okay, how many, so we're supposed to be in agile, but you have you have stories that you're not closing at the end of each sprint, and things of the sort. In theory, your stories in agile, you're supposed to start and finish your story, test it, definition of done, everything is done within one sprint. And sometimes it's not the case. So first of all, that it's a question of being able to make them understand, that some of the components are a little bit bigger than just one little story. And also certain elements, like you said, like the infrastructure and things of the sort, are more traditional to being able to use a more waterfall framework. But even when within agility, like the ceremonies say, you have a scrum every single morning, and you do a demo at every sprint and a retro and things like that. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like I tell them, is it pertinent for us to do it today, or we're just getting together and wasting 30 minutes? If we don't need it, we'll just do a demo at the next sprint where you have more stuff that you can show the client, and we won't do it this sprint, and things of the sort. So I think it's knowing what your traditional ceremonies are supposed to be, but at the same time using common sense and saying, is it applicable now? Do I need to do it and stuff like that? So, and always saying, what tool should I be using now? Should I be agile? Should I be? Is it something like this? Is there a clear milestone? We're in agile, but there's you still set some milestones of clear deliverables that you want to be able to show, and things of the sort for reporting purposes. So it's a language that you have to use with your team. I think educate them so that they understand yourself. Why are you doing things the way you are doing them?
Great advice. I think that people that are watching us now, I said in the beginning that this should not be a training or a course, but with you, Joe, it's always a course. We learn a lot with you, and I really appreciated this conversation. For those that want to contact Joey, let me put here. You can find Joey in the LinkedIn, Joey Perugino. Just
the main place
search for his name, and also if you want to go learn more about Joey, you can go to his website, peruginoconsulting.ca. And you can send a message, you can contact him. And if you want to participate in the meetings, in the meetups, just send a message to Joe. For sure, he will send you the link in the invitation for the next meetup about talking about project management. And I participate in some of these meetings, and I can testify that these meetings are amazing. They are incredible, because you have people from different categories. Not categories, I don't want to say that. You have people that are starting the career. You have people that have more than 20 years of experience. You have people that comes from agile environments. You have people that comes from traditional environments. So this meeting, it's very, very rich in terms of information, of experiences and cases. So I strongly recommend everyone that wants to. Of course, you need to be in Montreal. You are doing this remotely or just in person, Joy?
I do them remotely for now. I want to get back to meeting in person again, Rogerio.
But you're still remotely.
Yes.
So
for now, but I should
do
one locals, just so we get the chance to see each other again.
Yeah, but for those that are not here in Montreal, you can participate at the distance remotely for these meetup meetings. And if those that are here in Montreal, next time we can meet together. And Joey, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your knowledge, your experience, and in French we say your savoir-faire. And I hope we can have other opportunity to talk more about project management and hybrid project management.
Thank you very much, Rogerio. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. Keep doing what you're doing. We need more open conversation on project management, and I really, really, I'm a big fan of what you put out. So keep it up.
Thank you.
I, I love it.
Thank you. Thank you very
Have
much,
a very
Joey.
nice evening, everyone. Have a very good day.
And for those that are watching now in my YouTube channel, don't forget to follow me on my social media at Start Project Now. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Almost every week, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I'll be here with someone talking about hybrid project management. And you also can see my videos on my channel. So thank you, Joy, and thank you, everybody, and see you next week in another hybrid project management series.